This is my story, racing through the desert at BWR Arizona. If you're wondering what BWR is, it stands for Belgian Waffle Ride, and it's a sweet company that puts on some of the most epic gravel races in the world. Well, they don't exactly call them gravel races, they're called on-road races. Now this race takes place in the desert just outside Phoenix, Arizona. I'm racing the Waffle, which is 103 miles, 7,500 feet of climbing, and 58% of the race is on-road, whatever that's supposed to mean. I assume 58% dirt, 42% paved. Now last night I was dialing my race nutrition. I have 3 big handfuls of gummy bears, 10 double stuffed Oreos, some maple syrup, 2 caffeine drinks, 150 grams of sugar in both my bottles, and 2 liters of water in my Camelback. I showed up to the start line a little late as always, and honestly I was pretty far back. I should have been more assertive and just pushed my way to the front with the other competitive riders. The first 6 miles of this race was a small paved climb at 2.6%, but since I started so far back, I had to do a big effort just to catch up to the main group. When I caught up to the main group, I saw Evan Russell, a fellow Canadian and reigning cyclocross national champ. I know he's a sick racer and rips off-road, so I decided to follow his wheel. 1 mile before we turned onto the dirt, the pros attacked and the race shattered. The first 20 minutes had me average 389 watts, and I was still getting dropped from the front group. At the top of the climb, we turned right onto our first dirt sector. This sector was a windy 6 miles of off-road, mostly comprised of single track. As soon as we hit the dirt, the moto whoops started. Moto whoops are these huge bumps you can see on the road that will buck you off your bike if you're not careful. And within seconds the chaos started. Riders were crashing, stopping, pulling over on the side of the road. And honestly, I forgot how to ride my bike. I've never ridden anything like this before, and I could feel my bike wanting to buck me off whenever I picked up speed, so I ended up losing a lot of time here. And just as I was struggling, questioning my entire existence, Evan flew right past me and got some nice air off a moto whoop. It was funny because this was actually their cover photo they sent me right after the race. I never saw him again, he was up the road. The sun was rising and just so happened to be perfectly in my eyes, making it really hard to see what was up ahead. At this point, my confidence was really starting to sink. I had no idea how to properly ride these moto whoops. I was not going fast. I dropped my bottle, so I had to go back and pick it up, and my back was really starting to ache. After what felt like an eternity, but in reality was only 27 minutes, I was finally off the trail. And the next 20 miles was a mix of sandy and paved roads. Back in my element, I started to rip. I caught 5 people over this segment, and I told each one of them to hop on the Craig train. Chicka chicka choo choo! I know this is a race, and I should try and race smart, but being so far back already, all I wanted to do was smash my pedals and catch more people. So I towed all these people for the better part of an hour, averaging 315 watts. At this point, I was really questioning the ratio of road to dirt because I felt like I had spent way more time off-road. Now, an hour and a half into the race, I hit the big 31-mile dirt sector. There are 2.5 miles of road scattered in the second half, but it's mostly single track. The first leg was uphill, and I found myself regretting pulling so hard on the flats because our group blew up and I actually got passed by 2 riders. The first half of the sector wasn't that technical. I was just putting away steady, solo, taking in the views. Now, it's not every day that you get to ride through the desert with massive cactuses, mountains, and blue skies, so you gotta take it in. I even saw a jackrabbit on the side of the trail. The second half of the sector was a lot more technical, with a trail winding around the edge of some small cliffs. This was pretty gnarly. With loose gravel and narrow trail, I was not interested in going for a spill off the edge. So I took it safe, but my legs were feeling really good, so I was actually able to catch up to and pass a few riders. My bottle popped out of its cage again, this time smashing on the ground, meaning I just lost a full liter of water and a ton of carbs. Coming to the end of this sector, I was well over halfway done the race with 62 miles or 100 kilometers in the bank, with an average heart rate of 160 beats per minute and an average power of 285 watts. That roughly had me in 60th position. Out of the trails, I was back on the road, but come on, can we really call this road? Here I started to overlap with the 68-mile wafer riders, and this made the next section chaotic. We were back on the original moto whoop filled slippery single track sector, but this time with a ton of other cyclists to dodge. Everyone was really polite, but I was shouting behind you, looking to pass for 20 minutes, and this really slowed me down. Thankfully, we turned off their route towards our final climb. We'd accumulated a group of 6 6 waffle riders as we navigated through that craziness, and I put a little attack in just before the base of the climb. That gave me a little head start as we started going uphill, and I did not want to get caught. I full sent this climb, passing over 10 riders ahead of me and setting the 20th fastest climb on the day, only 2 minutes and 48 seconds behind gravel god Keegan Swenson, who ended up winning the race. Over the top of the paved climb, the road turned to a gnarly dirt road that kept going up. I was pretty much using all my remaining energy to just smash this climb. I ended up mustering 320 watts for a half hour up this climb, and being 5 hours deep into a race where I've been pushing my own wind all day, I'm really proud of that. Now after that big effort, I still had to descend the mountain and actually make it to the finish line. At this point, I was in full race mode and I had lost my fear of crashing. My hands were off the brakes and I was just ripping it downhill, doing my best to stay upright. I could still see one guy in the distance and I was chasing him down. The lower slopes were a lot more technical, with cactuses and cliffs. There were even a few uphills that made my legs cry. I was able to pass that last rider, but when I hit the road, he was able to chase me down. My camera died with a few kilometers to go, but we worked together and actually caught a mountain biker who was ahead of us. Coming into the finish, I put down my last bit of power and rolled in ahead of both of them for 46th place at 6 hours and 6 minutes. This was almost a full hour behind Keegan, who won the race.
Oh my god, I'm dead. Yeah, I have like nothing. Can't even sit up. Pretty proud of that effort. My technical skills were not good enough to stay anywhere near the front. Definitely felt myself getting better as we went. I felt really good on the rough stuff, okay on the slippery stuff, but it was like the whoops, the up and down. Oh, I have like no idea how to ride that. I've like hardly ever, I don't know if I've ever ridden anything like that before in my life. I normalized 307 watts for 6 hours, so I'm really proud of that. I never gave up. I did lots of work, pulled for people. I probably pulled, like I only sat in the draft for like the first 20 minutes, and then the last 10K, some guy caught me and we rotated. But yeah, just done, toasted. Oh my god.
Okay, so here's the tips I learned from racing my second ever gravel race. First off, pre-riding the course will make you so much faster. Secondly, don't cheap out on bottle cages. I lost a liter of water and that sucked. And third, they are so much fun. If you haven't tried one, you need to go try one. They're addicting, I swear. They're so addicting. Thanks for watching my adventure at BWR Arizona. Lots more racing content coming out soon, so be sure to subscribe and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.